Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Paris-based jazz pianist, composer, producer, and arranger Frank Woeste. We talked to him at length about his life in jazz, his new 2020 CD Pocket Rhapsody II, COVID, upcoming gigs, and the future. He is known to have developed a unique sound on the Fender Rhodes, combining the natural sound of the Rhodes piano with different effects. Over time, he has recorded 5 albums as a leader and appears on a large number of albums as a sideman and arranger. He did spend some time stateside in Texas, and he opens up about that and so much more. Enjoy. Well, hey, Frank, thanks for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, how is Paris today?
It's fine. It's it's rainy and cold. You know, Paris winters are not the best. You know, it's always around 0 degrees Celsius. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it snows. But you know, it's a wet cold.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. As far as COVID and being a musician and live gigs and things opening up, are things getting better in your neck of the woods?
Things have been better for a while. I mean, I played a lot during the summer, and until now actually. But you know, today I was supposed to play in Brussels in Belgium, and it was canceled. Things are getting a little worse right now because they have they're fearing a new wave of with the new kind of COVID virus. I don't know. So in France, most concerts are still on except for the very big ones. And in Belgium, I was supposed to play this week.
I guess let's go ahead and hop into your latest album, Pocket Rhapsody. Talk to me a little bit about having material out now during a time where we had such a long break from music, and at least there might be some opportunities to play it live.
Actually, we played a few gigs in November with Pocket Rhapsody in France. We played in a festival in Paris. We played Brussels. We're scheduled to be on tour in January and February. Well, we still hope it's on.
Yeah.
You know, we have a tour of 15 days in France, Germany, Holland, Belgium. Yeah. So I hope it still works. But yeah, it's with the guys from the record. It's Eric Vloymans on trumpet, Stefan Gallon on drums, and Julien Ernest on bass. We're not touring with the children's choir, but we're touring as quartet. Yeah.
Right on. So I really enjoyed the album. Talk to me a little bit about what you hope the listener gets from this album.
You know, for me, it's kind of music that doesn't really have any boundaries. It's obviously we all have a jazz background, but it's music that is also influenced by, my classical background, and I play with a lot of pop artists also, so it's just kind of, I don't restrain myself from other influences, so it's really just music that I hope to be kind of universal and that can speak to everybody.
So let's go back to your beginnings. Talk to me a little bit about how you started playing music, and more specifically, how you fell for jazz.
Well, I grew up in Germany, and my parents, they're not professional musicians, but they play instruments, and my brothers and sisters, they also did music, and there was always just a lot of music around at home, and we played together a lot and listened to a lot of music. So it was very natural for me to play music. So we had a piano at home, but also drum set and guitars and whatever. So I started playing piano when I was maybe 6 years old, something like that. I took lessons at first for classical music. And then maybe when I was around, I'd say 11 or 12 years old, my dad, he took me to a jazz concert of the group of Elvin Jones. And that just really kind of blew my mind, that energy, that freedom that, you felt in that music, the improvisation part also, that just really talked to me, and I started, listening to jazz and, trying to reproduce stuff I heard on different records. I took lessons with jazz cats from around the area where I live. Took it from there, I guess. I also spent a year as an exchange student in the U.S. I was a year in Texas, and I played with the stage band of the high school, and, it was a great experience. Kept going, I guess.
Right on.
For a long time, it was kind of between classical music and jazz. And when I was around maybe 17 or 18, it was definitely jazz. And then I went to Paris to study at the conservatory there. At first, I was planning to go, maybe back to Germany, go to Berlin, or maybe spend some time in New York. But then when I was already at the conservatory, I already played with a lot of different groups. So it just kind of felt, I always pushed the time away when, I thought, okay, I might go back, or I might go there, And so I just kind of stayed because it just was natural for me. And there's a lot of great musicians in Paris from all kinds of horizons, great jazz musicians, great musicians from, from Africa, from the Caribbean, just a lot of good musicians from everywhere. So it's a great scene.
Yeah, that's what I hear, yeah. Did you pick up anything in America that you remember specifically? I know that, a lot of jazz musicians kind of have a hunger for coming to America to see how things happen here. What did you learn when you were here in Texas?
I think what I learned was that the tradition is very important in jazz, that you learn where the music comes from, that you learn the repertoire, the standards, and I think that's something that is a common language in jazz, and that I appreciate. And every time when I play with American musicians, you can feel that tradition, with the blues part and just learning the tunes, going from there. I mean, from there you can take it anywhere, I think, but it's good to have that foundation.
Without a doubt.
Definitely.
Yeah. So every day you wake up, you get to be a musician. You get to create music. What is the best part of being a professional musician for you?
Well, I think the best part is that freedom to create for me. I really love to write and play music every day. To be to play live with other musicians. And that's really the great part. What is sometimes tiring is, the part traveling, spending a lot of time in stations, and, train stations, airports, whatever. That can get tiring. Or if, you have a tour schedule and it gets canceled because of COVID. Yeah, but the beautiful part is that you can make music with a lot of great musicians, I mean, that's a great part for me.
Yeah. Seeing Elvin Jones live is a pretty big deal. I think that's probably one of the best shows I personally heard somebody saw in the very beginning. But if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see another jazz musician live, who would it be?
Let's see. Well, I would have loved to see Miles and hear Miles Davis, but also I'd say Thelonious Monk.
Yeah.
Would have loved to see him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to make a decision. There's so many great musicians I would have loved to see and hear. Coltrane, Charlie Parker. Great. I mean, so many cats.
So let's say you bring your band to Kansas City and you perform a live show, and you have to, of all the options that we have nightly in Kansas City, you need to try to convince somebody to go see you live. Explain what a show would be like that you would put on here for us.
It's music that works well live, that it has a, like I said, it doesn't really have any boundaries. It's jazz, but it's also, it's very creative and has strong melodies, and we've been playing together for a long time. So every show is different, and that's what makes it exciting.
And that's the thing, too, about live music. Now that we're getting back at it, what do you hope we all realize about the power of live music that we've been away from for so long, both the musician and the audience?
For me, nothing beats the excitement of being a witness, of living the music right there in the moment. It's always more exciting for me. It's always, and as an audience too, it's just you can feel the vibes, of the excitement of creating something unique at that very moment, I don't think anything can beat that. For me, that's the excitement in jazz, pretty much, that the music is unique in a way that it only happens there that night and that way.
Everyone has a perception or an idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately you live your life. You have an idea of who you are. Who do you think you are?
That's not easy, for me. I think I just try to make music that feels genuine to me, that is unique. That's my point of view. You know, where I come from, and where I come from is pretty much, I guess it's kind of like a melting pot of who I played with, where I grew up, people I met, speaking. It's a mix of course, jazz, but also my classical music background, and the fact that I played with over here in Europe with different people that are, you know, that play very big stages that are almost more like pop music. So I guess it's a mix of all that. It's the experience of who you've played with. I don't really know. It's hard to explain.
Oh, no, you did. You did great job explaining it. Frank, hey, thank you for opening up about your life and music and taking a minute out for Neon Jazz today. I appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Paris, America, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Frank for his time, class, and cool. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.